People who haven't pooped in 2019 yet, why are you still holding on to last year's shit? It's all I have. I caught a diarrhea stomach bug and have been either in bed or on the toilet since about 7 p.m. New Year's Eve. It's now 22 hours later, and I'm still trying to let go of all of last year's shit. Someone send help. Bold of you to assume I'm going to take a shit this year. Fuck you, I won't poo when you tell me. Everyone now thinking about the last time they pooped. Nicely played. How would you feel about Reddit adding 3 NSFW filters to distinguish between porn, gore, and repetitive posts? Asking how you would feel about Reddit adding 2 NSFW filters to distinguish between porn and gore. While we're at it, can we add a 4th filter for posts asking if you'd be willing to stub your toe for $1 billion? This is a brilliant idea. Maybe just have 2 NSFW filters. One which covers gore and porn, then another for the repetitive questions. Would you watch a show where a billionaire CEO has to go an entire month on their lowest paid employee's salary, without access to any other resources than that of the employee? What do you think would happen? 3 months minimum, and I'd watch it. Thanks for the gold. There was this similar themed show in Hong Kong and mainland China years ago. They swapped billionaire with bottom feeders, let the rich do the basic job, on the lowest salary, to see how far the rich could go by purely their own effort. Nearly all of the billionaire admitted that they could not make anywhere, regardless of how hard they worked. Even working without sleeping and resting could not give you any accumulation to help climb up to the higher level of the society. There was only despair, and admission that the divide between the poor and the rich is already a deep valley, and mere personal effort makes little sense. It stirred big debate among the society back then, and I think that was part of the reasons the show got cancelled. There was also another show in China, swapping senior political figures with community-level council workers, to see how good they could do in each other's posts. The mayors were flooded by the angry mobs who kept asking for more and more benefits that were impossible to fulfill, by the end had to admit the amount of work at basic community level was too much to achieve anywhere. The show also got cancelled quite soon after a few episodes. I love reality shows, so I'd watch it depending on who produces it. If it's too fake, with too many emotional moments, advertising and people shouting, I'm out. It's more than just the money. It's the lack of security these people endure. Not knowing if you'll lose your job tomorrow and having no savings. Being kicked out of your home. An unexpected bill you can't afford, which may lead to increasing debt. Putting these rich people in a poor lifestyle for a month isn't enough. Even if they lost their money and homes, they'll have such a huge network that they'll be back on their feet in the time it takes for us peons to earn enough to eat for a week. They can never truly understand what it's like to be poor or ever face that reality again. So what would happen? It'd be a completely self-serving advert about how now I realize that we need to do more for our employees. The workers get a small vanity bonus, probably give an immigrant worker with limited English a car, pat themselves on the back. Then 2 weeks later, we've all forgotten about the show, and they'll go back to their old ways. What if God came down one day and said it's pronounced job then left? I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it. A large chunk of my taking the Lord's name in vain would go away. Jodamnit. Do you want a holy war? Because that's how you get a holy war. Does that mean Jesus would be pronounced Jesus? How would you feel about a feature where if someone upvotes a crosspost, the original post is upvoted automatically? What about subs that crosspost from other subs to mock them? The pharmaceutical companies would be outraged. How would you feel about it if you accidentally scroll to the top, you can go back to where you were button for Reddit? Found this after accidentally losing my place and starting at the top. Give me my place back, Reddit. How would you feel about this question being asked again, just formatted differently? Laughs in Apollo. For some reason, Reddit cannot be reached when loading the area you were at previously, and thus something went wrong with the scrolling back. Just don't panic. Stanley has passed away at 95 years old. FYI to those who are reporting this. Breaking news, megathreads, and mod posts are exempt from Rule 1 and 2 as they serve a separate purpose to the sub compared to regular posts. Source. Thank you for your civility, and for being kind to the other human beings in this subreddit. Best wishes. Was really hoping he'd get to see Avengers 4, but at least he did get to see and interact with his creations on the big screen. RIP. His wife passed away not too long ago too. It must have been lonely to all of a sudden be without his life partner. Seriously, there was a thread in here I was reading earlier on today about who you can't believe is still alive and someone mentioned Stan Lee. No frickin' way. Reddit, how would you feel about a law that bans radio stations from playing commercials with honking/beeping/siren noises in them? I would feel like finally lawmakers taking the public's issues to heart. I agree, and any ad for a auto service shop that plays squealing brakes or ominous engine sounds as well. Bill Gates said, I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job, because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. What's a real-life example of this? I knew a guy who had a low-level data/reporting job. He had several daily/weekly work responsibilities, including a bunch of reports that needed quite a bit of tweaking from raw data to finished product. But like I said, low level. We didn't find out until way later, but he had set up macros for each of his major responsibilities where he could. Once set up, he'd just run the macros to do his work, but then he'd, smartly, hold off on delivering the reports until just a little before the deadlines. He'd hit every assignment and was seen as reliable. He also would complain about the workload so people would leave him with that work. I doubt he did a full hour of work a day after he set up what he did. Eventually he left the job for one with better pay. But damn did he work lazy. Also, he was smart not to reveal until the end, because had he told them about it he would have gotten a pat on the back and would have been given a whole other workload, on top of maintaining those macros/etc. Dude milked the job, not the other way around. My brother gave my oldest nephew $10 a week if he did all his chores without needing to be told or complaining. One day he gets home early from work and sees the neighbor kid tossing a bag in the trash. He asks him what he is doing, and the kid says he gets $5 a week to take care of a few chores. My nephew outsourced his chores. I plug clocks in at midnight so they're already set. An older company had a person dedicated to data entry, which boiled down to copying and pasting portions of data from text files into spreadsheet and formatting into a report. The person originally doing this job spent a full 40+ hours/week doing it, but was not very computer literate. When they retired, the company hired someone with actual skills. The new hire convinced management to let her work remotely after getting up to speed on the job. The first week at home was spent automating the entire job. The remainder of their multi-year tenure with the company was spent doing whatever they wanted, save the 10 to 15 minutes weekly to run their program and to answer the odd email here and there. All while getting paid full salary and benefits. They actually had to add in a few errors now and then to make it seem realistic. What if Earth is like one of those uncontacted tribes in South America, like the whole galaxy knows we're here, but they've agreed not to contact us until we figure it out for ourselves? What if aliens showed up here millions of years ago, saw a planet inhabited by enormous lizard monsters and said fuck that, don't come back to this place? What if the people that were abducted by aliens were actually abducted by some alien TV host equivalent of the Crocodile Hunter, where he abducts a human and shows it off? Crikey, what a interesting little fella this is. They probably treat us like animals on National Geographic.